In the last few months, we have adopted and approved the Climate Action Plan, which details how to link climate change to fighting the triple challenges of poverty, unemployment, and inequality in South Africa. That for us is a basis of which we budget, is a basis of which business plans of departments are drawn, is a basis of which the IDP, which is the Integrated Development Plan, is drawn up. So therefore, as we budget based on what we intend to do, every plan of the city is infused with a climate transition. We're the first city in the world to list a green bond. A green bond in 2013, 2014, wherein it was an on-balance sheet finance mechanism, which started to finance all the green buildings, the transition, the adaptation, the mitigation mechanisms of climate change. When we started financing and retrofitting our buses from just normal diesel to Euro 5 diesel to reduce carbon emissions, we engaged for our bus rapid transit in the financing through the Export Credit Agency, which is an agency in Europe and in South America, which assisted us a great deal in climate financing. We use project finance, on-balance sheet finance, vanilla finance, but the tools that the city have established for now are the tools that are thought leadership, are ahead of its time. We are one of the cities which led, together with the FMDV, the Global Funds for Cities Development, to start a joint climate green bond with all municipalities around Gauteng, so that we can pool our resources together to finance climate change. We are a subnational government, therefore whatever happens in sovereign, which is national, will certainly affect us. Now there's been a sovereign downgrade. Access to capital is much more expensive. The conditions are onerous. So the southern downgrade to junk status has made it very difficult for subnational governments like Johannesburg, City of Johannesburg, to raise funds in the debt capital market. Two, our balance sheet is very stretched, and the borrowing capacity of our balance sheet is very challenged. So it's an impediment to go to the market to raise funds. The transfers from national are shrinking into subnational governments. So what it means is that we have very little space and headroom to access that finance to finance climate change infrastructure. And in the last 12 months or 11 months or so, the global pandemic of COVID has made it very, very difficult on the supply side to collect money from our residents and therefore to have money, and the demand side to access capital throughout the world. Firstly, we had an excellent treasury team that could put together boutique and specialist instruments focusing on particular types of infrastructure that will lead to, firstly, lowering the gas emissions of motor vehicles in South Africa and in Johannesburg. We were financing the dual fuel or dual energy for motor vehicles, especially the city energy, electricity driven and fuel driven. We were retrofitting them by changing their catalytic converters because of the team we had. And two is that we focused on the types of infrastructure that can help the city to be a green city, to adapt to climate change and to mitigate the impacts of climate change. And lastly, at some point we had a better credit rating than sovereign, and people were falling over themselves to give us money, both internationally and locally. We were part as a city of a network internationally to access money from DFIs, the development funding institutions in France, in Copenhagen, and I was part of the team. I was leading the team that used to go to these areas to sell the City of Johannesburg. We in 2012 or so started in earnest budgeting. In rands, it would be about 2 billion rands, $800 million for specifically climate transition and climate and green infrastructure. Because we are in the political environment, the political changes of 2016 did not take with them the focus on climate change. So the budget for both operational budget and capital budget that focused on green infrastructure was reduced. So we've just reinstated now that for the next 10 years, we're going to be spending 10 billion rands, about 1.5 to 1.8 billion dollars, just focusing on green infrastructure. We link that with our long-term strategy goal called the Growth and Development Strategy that seeks to create a green, sustainable, resilient, and livable city by 2040. We've broken that into decades. Now, in the second decade of the GDS 2040, we are spending that amount of money in just focusing on green infrastructure, just focusing on greening our buildings, retrofitting our buildings, not only the government buildings, but we want every building in the city of Johannesburg to use energy efficient lighting, to use water sparingly, to be green, to insulate ourselves, to insulate the houses so that we can use less energy. I'm saying to every political leader, in your planning, at the center of your planning, you plan a city for people. And therefore, if you plan a city for people, it means that you have to take the environment into account. And when you take the environment into account, it means that your planning of your future infrastructure, your future plan of the city must be green. Therefore, that the budget will have to follow your plan. And if your budget follow your plan, it means then that your financing mechanisms will have to tilt towards being green and not towards doing the run-of-the-mill and what we've done in the past. We don't just build houses because people need shelter. We build green houses because people must live in a sustainable, resilient, and livable environment. National transfers are reducing worldwide. Decentralization is becoming the talk of the town. The new urban agenda requires that as we approach urbanization, of which we say by 2050, 60 or 70% of the world population will be living in urban areas. Therefore, what we do in the urban areas today, following the new urban agenda, every political leader must understand the new urban agenda.